say, have you turned aside to myths? I want to show you a big stack of articles here. This is a pretty thick stack. And one of these articles is addressing a scripture in 2 Timothy. It's called Turned Aside to Myths. Have you turned aside to myths? This track is free at torazone.net. It's also available at lamblegacyfoundation.com. That's torazone.net. Holy water, walking around objects, going around in processions, holding hands in circles. That's a lot of weird behavior. Praying to the dead with beads. Wow. You got to take off those goggles. That's definitely not good. I'm Lew, and I've got this study, and it's a response to this kind of thing that we were dealing with just recently on a video. A person who was obviously drunk on men's doctrines was kind of in an argumentative mood, saying that I was not correct about obeying the commandments. Like that would be a bad idea. It doesn't earn your salvation or your deliverance, but it is evidence that Yahushua's in you and he's guiding you to obey his commandments. He wrote them on our hearts. That's what his promise of the renewed covenant is, that he would write his laws and his commandments on our hearts. And that's why we love him, you know. This is a little sticker I made up a while back. It's called Turning Aside to Myths Happens. And there's a cause and effect. It's like causality. You know, and the cause is 2 Timothy chapter 4. And the effect will be burning. In Malachi chapter 4, it discusses the commandments and what the result of not obeying them will be. Yeah, we got that little sticker too. It's not free, but you know, it's reasonable. You can get it at torazone.net. But these downloads of these articles, all these babies are free if you download them. And this is the covenant of love. I'd like to show you what that looks like. And here they are. You can slow this video down and look at it. And on the back of this little bookmark, we've got the alphabet in different languages and scripts. See that? What about that? And if you save this video, you'll have this record. Just look this up at the front of this video. I think you can probably see it pretty clearly. See the Aramaic? That's not Hebrew. That's what they brought back from our captors in Babel. Anyway, let's get on with this study. I think you're going to like it. I can make my head bigger, look. Hey, wow. So, have you turned aside to myths? One of the opening questions that this person asked me in one of my videos is, and I like talking to people this way too, how many of the 613 laws listed in the Talmud do we need to heed? Well, his question was different, but it was basically saying, how many do you obey? Well, interestingly enough, the 613 laws that people talk about when they start studying in their lawless mode is that they come from the Talmud. They don't originate anywhere else. The Talmud does address them from Torah and the instructions. However, a lot of these laws are instructions in guidance according to colors, quantities, timing, you know, what day of the week to do something. And a lot of it has to do with women. A man can't obey what a woman is told to do, nor can a woman do what a man is told to do. And a lot of these are about priests. and high priests specifically, and what to wear, and all these details. And someone long ago wrote all this down, and it's in the Talmud, and they have a list of every single detail. And Yahusha did not guard the 613 commandments. He couldn't. He's a male. So we'll just read this and see what you think, if it helps you grow. All right. He didn't guard the 613 commandments, not every one, because he's not a woman. And some are for women, others are for kings, others are for priests, or the offering of animal blood, which became obsolete with the shedding of Yahusha's blood. And the priesthood itself is gone. There's no physical temple to go to. There's no ark to throw the blood on. That's one of the details. But he came to destroy the works of the devil and atone for sin. He didn't come here to do away with his commandments. He came here to do away with, to end the works of the devil. Now, here's a video that I'm going to refer to in the description on this video so that you can find it and watch more about this. It's called Mystagogues Have Deceived the Whole World. The 613 laws listed in the Talmud and how Mystagogues have deceived the whole world. Here's the website. It's on YouTube. It won't eat your computer. Look for the link in the description. All right, now, let's see if I can get my head out of the way a little bit. Hey. This study will show the obvious error of men's traditional view of the sign of the eternal covenant, which is the seventh-day rest, the Sabbath, and how easily deceived the laity has been deceived by those who guide them into doctrines of demons. Where did all this nonsense start, No, I'm talking about the doctrines of demons. It started with our teachers long ago. And they hand it down from generation to generation. Yahusha told us, those who guard the commandments, that's the eternal covenant, that define sin, according to 1 Yehukanan, or 1 John 2, verse 4, and 3, verse 4. Read both of those. You can see it here on the screen. Those who guard the commandments and teach them will be the greatest in the reign, but not so for the lawless. Even those who disregard or cancel or annul the least of the commandments, those who remain in their transgressions, cannot even receive his name. They use other names that they've handed down. They don't understand the name Yahusha. They haven't studied. And their teachers haven't studied. So they just keep on handing this nonsense down. This is what he will tell them. I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness. The one that says, that's lawlessness, is at this verse is at Matthew 7, verses 21 through 23. It's interesting because 1 Yehukanan, or 1 John, chapter 2, verse 4, says that the one who says, I know him, but does not guard his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him. So you have to receive the truth. And if you receive the truth and you don't obey, Hebrews 10 has something interesting we'll cover later. When we obey the word, we prove we believe the word. If we say, I believe the word, but they don't obey the word, it's not earning them salvation. Yahusha's blood does that. Look at Yaqub, or James, chapter 2, verse 18. I hope you can hear me. I'm going to crank this thing up a little bit. This might make a little noise. Watch out. Okay, it's at max. Okay. Yahusha did not come to do away with his commandments. He came to destroy the works of the devil, which leads you into breaking the commandments, which is sin. Only Yahusha's blood redeems completely. The redeemed have pledged themselves through water to obedience. empowered by the indwelling of Yahusha to overcome sin. This gives them discernment. So when they hear somebody going, oh, you don't have to obey that, then they go, uh-oh, I've got discernment. Because Yahusha's in it, and he's telling them. If a person continues to deliberately sin after they have received the knowledge of the truth, no further offering of sin remains, but only a fearful expectation of judgment and of raging fire. They have insulted the spirit of favor. And that's basically what Hebrews 10, verses 26 through 30 is telling us. We were warned. How did they get so lawless? Well, the cause for the lawlessness in the world, and the teachers, pastors, every sect of Christianity, is 2 Timothy chapter 4. It warned us that a time would come when they would not endure sound teaching, but rather they would heap up teachers to itch their ears with words they desire to hear. Because of this, they will be shocked in the end. Here's the effect. Malachi 4, verses 1 through 6. Please take time to read those 6 verses. Malachi 4, 1 through 6. It talks about the 10 Commandments. Those who have turned away from sin pledged their obedience and called on the name of Yahusha for forgiveness. They've apologized for sinning. They've repented. And they're sealed as his property. So when the reapers come, they're going to go, oh, there's one of his. We don't touch them. And they're sealed in his name. And these people that won't obey his commandments, they can't receive his name. He's blocked it. They are restored to favor and obey out of love. That's why we obey. We don't obey because we want to deliver ourselves. That's impossible. We're restored to favor and obey out of love for him. Love Yahuwah and love your neighbor. And the 10 Commandments are important. There's a covenant sign, which is the 4th one, which shows that we are his. It's a sign forever between Yahuwah and his people. Yahusha warned us, his first Natsarim, of the end times, when they ask him about what are the signs of your coming when you do arrive. What will be the signs that you're close? And he tells them some horrifying things about what's going to happen over time. And it's going to match up with the guy they call Isaiah chapter 24, Yashayahu 24. The inhabitants of the earth are going to be in for a shock. It's going to be worse than anything that's ever happened since creation itself. The end times is what he's answering to. At Matthew 24, verse 20, something happens that he mentions that people say, oh, that's done away. But it's not. It's the Sabbath. He mentions the Sabbath. Acts 1, verse 12 talks about a Sabbath distance. And that was written like 31, 32 years after Yahusha ascended by Luke. Luke wrote Acts 1, verse 12, and said that they returned to the city a Sabbath's distance. Now, what is that? Why didn't he say what used to be a Sabbath's distance? Now, Yashayahu is what they call Isaiah. In that chapter 24 should get your attention. Well, chapter 66 should too, because it talks about eating unclean animals, pigs. It even mentions pigs. Now, here we go. There's an outpouring of wrath that's coming on the disobedient inhabitants of the earth. What does disobedient mean? It means they're lawbreakers. They don't listen to Yahuwah. They've turned their back on his commandments. The earth will be burned because they have broken the eternal covenant of kindness. I just showed it to you. It's 10 words. It's called, Asareth Hadabarim, the 10 words. The sign of it is the rest on the 7th day of every week. Just read Hebrews 4. It doesn't say that Yahusha is our rest. It talks about the seventh day several times. The seventh day. There remains a Sabbath rest for the people of Elohim. Matthew 24:20 mentions that we are to pray your flight not be in winter or on a Shabbat. The end times are upon us, and Yahusha's Natsarim are saying what he told us we would be saying. You will not see me again until you say, Baruch haba b'shem Yahuwah. That's at Matthew 23, verse 39. We won't see him again until we say that? Well, that's a quote from Psalm 118, verse 26. And the stone the builders rejected, which is his name. And what does it say? Baruch haba b'shem Yahuwah. A lot of you might want to know. Blessed is the one who comes in the name of Yahuwah. The dragon is enraged with the offspring of the woman, those guarding the commandments of Elohim and hold the testimony of Yahusha. The Christians don't guard the commandments of Elohim. And the Yahudim don't hold to the testimony of Yahusha in their Judaism. They don't do it. So there's a disconnect in both camps. Read Revelation 12:17. They have the commandments written on their hearts, the Natsarim, circumcised by Yahusha's Spirit, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to the end with it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next short video. Bye.